There you go.
Welcome, everybody, to What? Not Another Reselling Podcast here on Jack's Treasures channel. Our podcast focuses on the live portion of reselling. We don't edit, everything comes in raw, and we try to bring you this truth about live selling. Our topic today is how established sellers handle rooms with hundreds of people that sometimes include trolls.
Yeah. Our guest today, guys, is someone who is super awesome right now on the Whatnot app. His name is Noahballer1984. He's a live seller on Whatnot, and he is amazing, guys. I have seen some of his rooms that are just phenomenal, and he controls the room so well. He has always great items, great prices. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I want to tell you all something. For those of you those naysayers out there that say you cannot get eBay prices on Whatnot, there's the exception to the rule right there. Believe me, I have seen it. Okay. He's also somehow became a friend of Jack's Treasures. That's awesome. Okay. He was gracious enough to join us on the Veterans Day Raid Train, where we raised, and I think we talked about this on one of the episodes, where we literally raised over $1,400 to stop soldier suicide. So Noah, give us a brief introduction of yourself, please.
Hi. Yes, I am Noahballer1984 on Whatnot, and my real name is Noah Williams, but I go by the Baller. They always call me the Baller. I don't know where I got that name from. Besides, I used to play a lot of basketball, so always had Baller as my nickname, and or they called me Cue Ball because I didn't have any hair.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yep. So yeah, and I mainly sell on Whatnot. I do sell on other platforms too, but I don't like posting too much on there. So Whatnot just my main job.
Yeah, that is awesome right there. I'm telling you. Well, he pretty much
he got that one right there. Yeah,
you've already taken our very first question for you was how did you come up with the name Noahballer? How did you add 1984 onto that? I'm curious about that.
That's the year I was born.
That was my guess.
That was going to be my guess too, and I'm sitting here thinking, going, "Shit, I graduated high school in '83."
I know people always said like, "Oh yeah, '84. You're a youngin." I'm like, I don't feel young, but okay.
Let's see. I just had my 40th year high school reunion last year. So, or was it last year or the year before that?
Last year.
It was last year, and that was just a lot of fun.
Well, I don't think I
am a little younger than him. I'm still ahead of you though. I'm Tracy 1979.
You're Tracy 1979. Yes. Wouldn't you just be 1979?
Well, I graduated with a class of 2, so I went to a Christian school. So we probably won't have that.
All right. Thank you, Noah, for that one. Oh, by the way, just letting you know, he's also a father of 4. Okay.
Yes, I have 4 kiddos.
Much to my chagrin, he wasn't married, even though I thought that he was.
No, not right now.
Right. All right. Yeah, you got that part.
This is Real Talk Q&A, where we ask the tough questions to our guests.
Oh, that's right. I was supposed
to hopefully gain some knowledge.
Yeah, my bad. You can see we're really a professional podcast.
Oh yeah. I think I've only done 2 podcasts before. So this one, and then I did one for Whatnot.
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. That is great.
Our first question is the same to every guest, and this is, how did you get started reselling?
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been a reseller for I don't know, 25 years. My dad, when I grew up, my dad was a Baptist pastor, and so I lived in a Baptist home, and we didn't make my dad didn't get paid a lot of money. Being a preacher back then, and these days pastors get paid a lot of money. I know that it depends on the size of the church, but so my dad would sell on eBay, and that was in the 1997. I think he started on that, and he was like, "Yeah, you need to take out these packages to the truck," and I'm just like, "Okay." And he's like, "You interested in reselling?" I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "I do it just to make money for ends meet." And so I kind of got started on that. I would find stuff at garage sales. Our church always had like a rummage sale, and to make money for kids to go to family camp and camps and stuff. And so it kind of got interested. I could get stuff real cheap that way and then turn it around and sell it on eBay, or back then it was only eBay. That's all.
Pretty much.
That was only it. And then slowly I did that almost every year. Not enough to do anything with it. I usually spent my money back on eBay, so I never got the money anyways. And then
our business model.
Yep. Later in life, I kept it as a part-time job, and tried to make enough on other platforms because, Facebook Marketplace came around and it got really big for a while. And then I moved to Macari and Depop, and it just wasn't for me. But I stuck with eBay and Facebook for a while, and then I took a job at Russell Stover's candy factory here in
Okay.
Kansas, and I did that for about 9 years. And on the side, I did reselling. I was like, you know what I'm going to try to do is make the same amount of money as I do working a full-time job and see if I can do that. And it took me about 8 months. And once that 8 months hit, and I was like, oh, I'm making the same amount of money, but I don't have enough for insurance. And what if something happens, where I've seen it where you don't get no sales for months,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Right.
and so I started doing that, and my goal was to get enough saved up to where I had a year's worth of income. That way, if I stopped my job, I had something to rely back on in case it got slow. So it took me a good, I don't know, I was probably in my early 30s when I started it full time. And I almost had to go get another job when Facebook went to crap. Facebook kind of just died off, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm going back to
Yeah.
the Bay." And then Whatnot came around, and I was already a full time seller on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, "Well, I'll try Whatnot. I don't know if it's gonna work out or not," and it really didn't work out. It was horrible, and that was 5 years ago. 5 years ago when I started
Oh
Yeah.
Whatnot,
wow, yeah.
and it
We've
was
actually
bad.
heard that from a lot of folks that were on at that very, very beginning, or they came on, a year or two after that, and their first experiences with Whatnot were horrible.
They didn't have nobody on there. I was contacted by a Whatnot. I don't know what they was. They were like people that worked from their homes, but they worked for Whatnot. And I was like,
Right.
yeah, I don't like this at all. They're like, well, we can help you out. And I said, no, it's not for me. And there was no
Right.
sellers on there. I think I can name you 2 sellers that are still today that are still on there when I started. And that's Storage Auction Pirates
Right.
Yep.
Green 13. That's the only two I know.
Oh my
Everybody
gosh!
else
Wow.
started after me, and so
Right.
it was pretty hard. But yeah, that's kind of how I came around reselling. It just slowly worked out for me. I don't know why it became popular or whatever you want to say, but maybe it just works out for
Huge, guys. We want to say huge, all right? And I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about his room size and the amount of money he's making in his shows. Believe me, I know. He's already broken my checkbook twice.
for sure.
Oh, just to let you know, Green 13 was one of our guests on
He
here,
was.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
I did. I watch his community things every Sunday morning that he does. He's very knowledgeable person.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We had him as a guest on our podcast. And it's actually Tracy who did the analytics and was saying that he's in our top 10 of our most watched videos, which is just amazing. And he's going to be on again, not a spoiler alert. He's going to be on again in 2026 in January. We already have him booked down for one of those. But yeah, that's actually one of the people that I started watching a lot of was Jeremy's Sunday show, who still does it.
He does. Yep, exactly.
Okay. Now you've touched on this a little bit, but aside from when you first started, okay, and then you came back, how did those first Whatnot shows go when you first started? Not when you did it and you said it wasn't for you, but when you started to gain traction.
Yeah, I started watching a few other sellers that seemed like they had back then. If you had 25 people in your shows, you were considered
Oh yeah.
bigger than them, unless you were a card seller. I think card sellers were the bigger ones back in the day. But I was watching these sellers that had like 20, 25, and I was just like watching what they were doing. You really can't copy other people. It just didn't work. So I was just like, well, they didn't have the storage unit category, so I had to kind of pick the estate sales category because that's kind of what I did. And I was like, I don't know, I want to be something different. I want to do something different. So my first shows were actually from the back of my truck.
Okay.
And
Wow.
I would load up my truck with stuff that I purchased at local auctions or estate sales. And I would fill it back in my truck and on a nice warm day and come out and start moving totes out. And I think about after 5 shows, I made my first $100 and I was like, oh, if I can do this 5 times a week, that's a normal job for me. You thinking here in Kansas, minimum wage is the worst. You make $100 a day, you're making what a normal person makes here in Kansas. So I was like, if I can do this, I don't got to go work nowhere. So after
Right.
about 5 shows, I started doing that and I just kept going. And I was like, well, maybe I'll start moving categories, changing stuff around. And I did about 10 more shows and it kind of seemed to die off. I would get like 10, 15 people in there. And I had to start my items out at what I was okay with letting it go. So if I knew I had paid $7 for an item, I'm starting it at $10. And
Right.
I did
Right.
that for a while. And then I would, kind of ask the chat, hey, do you want this? Do you want that? I didn't run stuff at free will like I do now. But
Right.
it literally took me 25, 30 shows to start gaining any kind of traction, and traction to me was 50 to $100 a show. I thought that was good. If I
Right.
made that, I'm good for the right now for that day. But I had to do
Right.
5 shows a week to feel like
Right.
I was
Right.
making any kind of money. So yeah, it was a little rough at first. And then after that, probably about 30 shows, I started trying to switch it up, maybe load tables up and try that form. And that seemed to work to where I would just browse tables that were preloaded and people could pick out stuff they wanted. And it seemed like I could lower my price that way. I could say, okay, $5 starts. Because if you know me, I was the $5 start man for 3 years. I did
Right.
$5 starts for 3 years before I even started my dollar starts.
Mhm.
Even a room of 100 people, I did $5 starts. It just I
Right.
wanted to
Right.
make sure if I only got that one bed, I still made $5.
Yeah, and that's real common. And I think that that's a big mistake, which I guess I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but that's like one of the big mistakes. I think that new sellers come in and they see rooms like yours
Hmm.
or other sellers that are starting stuff off at $1, and they think, oh, I can do that too.
Hmm.
I have a lot of the same things. They don't understand that there's a difference between 10 people in a room and 150 people in a
150
room or
people.
250 people in a room.
Right.
There's a huge difference on that. And that is one of the mistakes.
Yep, for sure.
Is it me or you?
What mindset or preparation helps you stay calm and confident when you know a high volume crowd is coming?
Oh, yeah.
Never. I'm usually it's more nerve wracking right when I first start my show. Like, am I gonna get that 100 people in my room? Because now I'm kind of like, if I only have 50 people in my room, I'm doing something wrong. So it gets me nerve wracking when I first start and I see people coming in. I'm just like, okay, maybe they don't like me no more. That's more nerve wracking when I first start now, but
Right.
it's just the way Whatnot now has so many sellers that the room builds slowly. But I'm
Mhm.
Yeah.
really not nervous because I'm not on camera, so you can't see my face. I've never been
Right.
on camera on Whatnot at all. Only time you see
Wow.
me is when I do a competition, and you'll see me for my competition, which is the baller competition. You'll see me for
Right.
like
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
5 minutes at tops, and then I talk about it, and then I switch the camera back around. To me, I'm not that person that wants to hold something up and show my face or my whatever behind me is the whole time. I'm just maybe that would make me more nervous. Maybe having the camera turned around doesn't make me as nervous anymore. But got to remember, I'm a PK preacher's kid, so I had to get up in front of and preach. I was one of those kids that would preach in front of I was the preacher's son, so I had to learn how to do all of that. I would song lead and in front of our church back then had 200 people in there, so I had to get in front of everybody and sing. Which
Wow.
and I sang in the choir, so maybe being able to do that helped me with my emotions of not being so, nervous, knowing there's 100 people watching me right now. There's a lot of people that get on there and they get nervous just being on there with 5 people because they're afraid they're going to stutter or say
Yeah. Me.
something
Me.
wrong.
Me. Me.
I'm just like, wait a minute, I can't even pronounce half the words I find or something on. I'm just like, everybody in the chat's like, you said that wrong, or they'll try to pronounce it for me. I'm just like, I don't care anymore. I'm just saying it.
We have that problem a lot.
Yeah. I just roll with it, and a
Yeah.
lot of times, little secret. I guess I shouldn't really tell this to anybody that is listening, but I do it on purpose a lot. I will
Yeah.
mispronounce. I do a record show and I'll say, "Oh, look, this is Bob Dylan. He was a member of the Beatles." And then the chat just lights up on with no, he wasn't, no, and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, he wasn't, and all this other kind of stuff. And a lot of that is a way to engage.
You have to engage. Yep.
The chat so that they're like, "Oh, I got to help this guy out." I literally have somebody who reached out to me after a show that I did just this past week and said, "Hey, listen, I do a vinyl record a Q&A. You should come in so you can up your vinyl record game." And I'm like, "I don't give a shit." Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't care. Okay, I'm just trying to sell this stuff. I buy it in storage units. I have nothing in this anymore. So if I'm holding up a record and it's a $60 record and I'm starting off at $1, which I don't start, I'm not at that point quite where Noahballer is at, where I can start some shows off at $1, like my video game console shows and all those things. I can do those at $1 because I built the audience up for that.
Yeah,
I have not done that in the category of vinyl records, so I start mine off at $3. But we do sometimes try to drop prices down, things like that. And she goes, "You're like way so low," and I'm like, "I'm okay with that. Get a deal. Get the deal."
Yep, and they don't quite know what you have paid for the items either. Like when you buy a storage unit, if you buy the whole storage unit for $200 and you've got 1,000 items in there, you're okay with let some stuff go at $1. They don't absolutely know that.
Yeah, I let go an Xbox OG console sold for $1 the other day. But it was okay because the person who actually bought it is that narrator dude who was also part of the Veterans Day raid train. And he's actually the first person ever raided into us, and just a super good
Did that fit in a flat rate box?
No, we put it. I shipped it in a. It wouldn't because of the dimensions of it. Yeah, so we had to use an adjustment, I think, on it.
Yeah.
But it's one of the best things about it. It's so good to hear that he literally said that, sometimes he'll get nervous if he's knows a big room that's coming in. I mean, the guy's got rooms, guys, of like 400 or 500 people. But still, he does that. That's awesome. He's human. What strategies do you use to keep hundreds of people engaged without letting the chat get too chaotic? Now, that is something that, guys, everybody, stop what you're doing and listen.
So everybody calls stuff on Whatnot bangers, okay?
Right.
There's a difference in your room what a banger is to you compared to someone else's room. You may have a toy that you think is a banger because maybe it brought you good memories from your childhood or something like that. And I might have a video game that I think is nice, but to everybody else, it may only be a $5 item. So when I do my shows to keep it entertaining, I may have a whole bunch of silver and gold coins sitting out. And of course, my chat wants me to run it all right now. And I'm just like, no, we're not going to run it all right now. Even though I think I would get good money for it. It's like, let's run a few pieces here and then go to something else and then go to something else. And then we come back. That keeps that crowd staying in there, knowing that you're going back to what they want. And because you can't just run all your really good stuff at first. If you do that, some people get really good deals and then they just leave. They don't want to stick around for something else. And that's a thing of live unboxing, which I've kind of gotten away from it. But now my Friday shows are all kind of live unboxing. Is they're waiting for that next cool thing to come out. If you sit there and say, look at all these 5 things I have, and these are all my best items. When you're done with those 5 items, what do you have that's going to keep the crowd interested besides $1 to $5 items? You need that item like in my room with 200 to 400 people every show. I've got to have that $100 item sitting around somewhere. Otherwise, even me, I can see the room count go down to 100, which I don't normally do it, but I have seen it. And they say don't keep an eye on that thing. It's hard. Even with my size of the room, I see it drop 50 or 50 people. I'm just like, well, who else went on? Deals to Steals probably went on because that's about my competition right there.
Yeah. I've been in some of their rooms too.
Yeah, but you don't. You just have to be able to spread stuff out. That's how I think it's best. Is spread stuff out and don't run all because everybody wants you to run your best item right off the bat. You need to wait. It's your show. You do what you want to do. If you want to run it off the bat, go ahead. But you better have some more entertaining stuff to keep that crowd in there. Otherwise, they are going to leave.
Yeah, you'll notice the this big transformer that we got like right behind our head. And I have that in all of our shows now that people see, because they can see that. And that is our what we call the Battle of the Best. We do the Battle of the Best with CG Boomerang Echo.
Boomerang, yep.
Yeah, and so that's our item for it. And I try to put it in the show as soon as I can get it up in there, just to let people see it in the background. And it amazes me because we always get somebody in there who goes, is that a Pikachu in the back? And I'm like, what? Where? What are you talking about? And then like, oh, in the back over there, right behind the big headed dinosaur thing. And I'm like, good Lord, can you see that? I can barely see that.
Yeah, it's really good for people that do use the camera on themselves to have a good background, to have maybe 5 or 10 really good items back there. That way people know those items are going to run at some point.
Yeah.
Unlike me, I scan the tables, it's a little different. I'm not going to show you all my good stuff at first. Otherwise, they'll want it and then they just, okay, see you next show.
Yeah. Well, I do have a question, but I'm going to save that till after we're done recording because I don't want that secret to go out.
Yeah.
Well, our next question for the interview here: how important is your mod team, and what specific instructions do you give them before a big show?
Or do you have a mod team?
I do. Now, my mod team changes quite often. I'm a bigger seller, and without having to go too far in detail, my first 4 mods no longer that I first started on, they no longer mod for me no more. They've all become sellers. Once a lot of the mods become sellers, they kind of die off for you, because they are trying to build their own thing. And then I have lost a few of my mods to a couple other bigger sellers who we don't get along with no more. And so they don't want to take sides of, hey, I'm in this guy's show or this guy's show. So now I try to mod sellers mod people that are sellers that are new and upcoming, because that gets them notifications, notified saying, hey, follow all my sellers or my mods, because they're going to become a seller and that'll help them out. And I do have mods that are full-time all the time, which one of them is Gamers Collectibles, which is a gaming guy, and he used to be my biggest.
We know
he's
him
in Savannah.
Well.
He lives in Savannah. We're in Atlanta.
He's my biggest buyer for the whole year.
Wow.
For like 2 years in a row, and I have a lot of big buyers, so that tells you how much money he spends.
Oh yeah,
he's in our top 10 probably.
He probably is. He's
a big
right around in there.
Yeah.
Yep. And then his dad, before he passed away, was my second highest buyer, and he likes all the Army stuff, military, and all the antiques and collectibles. And then I have a few other mods. Not trying to say anything. I have 2 other girl mods, that kind of I talk to them on a regular basis. Not that I like them or they like me. Maybe I hope they like me. I am single. But it seems like the girl mods, the lady mods, they like to do that as a job. To them it gives them something to do. If they're a stay-at-home mom or something, they want to be on their phone and helping out. Unlike me, if you mod me in your room, I'm in and out every 5 minutes. It's like I get bored. I can't sit there and read the chat for the whole time. I'm not a good mod. But then I usually, if my mod, almost all my mods buy from me. So what I do is, to follow Whatnot terms, you're not technically supposed to be paying your mods through the Whatnot system or outside. It's just they have terms of service for it. So usually, if they buy something from me, or I'll wait till they buy something for me, even if it's a $1 item, I fill up their whole box and I send them a whole box of goodies. That's the best way.
There's our cat Jessie, by the way. She's our little parrot cat. She comes in during our recordings all the time.
So yeah, I usually add stuff to my boxes for my mods to keep them coming back. Or if that doesn't happen and they don't buy nothing, like Terra Land's one of my good mods, I'll go in and just tip her.
We know Terra Land.
I just go in and tip her once in a while, and she's like, oh, you don't have to do that, but it shows appreciation, because if you're in my shows and you're modding, you kind of need to be a good mod, because I have those 200 people, and then they have to keep track. If someone sees something, they start taking a list of stuff. They could have 10 items written down that I need to be running, and I don't keep up. It's hard for me to keep up with the chat as it is, unless it's a troll.
Well, we'll be addressing them too.
Yep,
also.
I know. That's why I stopped right there.
Oh, that's you. No, it's me. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm off on this thing. How do you handle trolls and disruptive behavior in a packed room without slowing the show down?
Yeah,
That's literally
I've
the next question.
there for a while. It used to bother me. A couple years ago, me and another seller, we had it out and whatnot, and
Hmm.
just kind of just let it go. But kind of people would come in and start saying stuff during the chat and kind of try to interrupt my shows, and it would get to me. I would get in
Mhm.
there and something would get bid up to $10,000, and then
Oh
it would
my
fail,
gosh.
and it would happen over and over again. And then they say turn on verified buyers. You actually lose a lot of customers when you turn on verified buyers. It's just how
I
it
wondered
is.
about that.
It's
Yeah.
mainly if a verified buyer has to show their ID, take a picture of their identification.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people that just don't want to do that on the apps these days. As
Right,
long as you're
right,
18 years older, you should be able to do anything. Like when you go onto eBay, you can buy as a guest. You don't have to have an account to buy. They'll make you an account
right.
as soon as you buy. But and then a lot of trolls come from Reddit. Yeah, I'm all
Yeah.
over Reddit. I know I am. It's okay. To me, Reddit is full of jealous sellers. That's all it is. Sellers that didn't
It
make it.
seems like a very toxic place from what
Yeah, and
I've
I don't even have
seen.
a Reddit. So when I got on there, I'm a
Uh,
guest. And so when I try to comment, it'll say, "Hey, create an account." And I'm like, "Nope." Because then
Right.
no need for me to create an account. I only do it if I see, like, I had a problem a couple years ago with some people posting. They got mad at me on whatnot, so they found me on Facebook, started posting pictures of my kids, and
oh no, you
I
don't
don't
do
like
that.
I
Yeah.
don't like that, and so I didn't want to
I don't
cause
blame you.
more problems. And then they would come into my shows from Reddit and start stuff. There for a while, it would bother me, and I would, if someone said something in my chat, I would address it right then and there. And
Hmm.
it kind of just got me down, and where I just stopped doing it. Now, if I see a troll, I'll be nice, or one of my mods will be nice and say, "Hey, can we keep that out of the chat, or next time you're gone?" Now, if they
Right.
say something over again, I just automatically, instead of banning, I actually block. You should see
Okay.
my block.
Right.
You should see my block list. It's not. It's not. It's. I probably have. I would have to say 1,000 people blocked on whatnot,
Oh,
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
and it doesn't. It doesn't hurt me one bit. So people are always afraid. Well, if I
No.
block too many people, I won't. I will lose them as buyers. If they're just coming in there to start crap, why would you want them in
Mhm.
your show? They're not helping your show out anyways. So
Exactly.
Right.
instead of
Right.
banning, instead of having that problem in the future, like for a while, I would ban them, and then they'd show up a month later. I'd be like, "Oh, I recognize that name." That just
Right.
stopped my whole show. So now, I'll tell my mods to ban them and send me a screenshot, and I'll block if I don't catch it, because I'll have some
Right.
people that'll say, "Hey, I think they're being rude," but I'm not for sure, if that's what they meant by it or not. So I have to recheck it and see. But yeah, that's usually how I deal with them now. If I see it, I just remove. Or I
Right.
can just say, "Hey,
Right.
did you mean to say that in that way?" Because you can think someone's saying something to you in a mean manner, and it may not be the way they said it.
Oh,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. I'm probably one of the biggest ones that's guilty of doing that.
I know it.
Literally, because Tracy will say to me, well, one of the things that happens, and I don't get near the trolls that he has, and by a far amount, but we had one of them that came in, and we call on one night it's called red chat, and the red
Yep.
chat will come around. Well, I tend to read the red chat because I can't read the regular chat because it goes fast for me, and I only have a room size of about 25 to 50 is our general size. But I started to read one, and Tracy would be over there. She'll yell, "Just don't read that, don't read that," and stuff. And sometimes I'll say something, and she'll come around and she'll say, "We don't mean to offend anybody," and
Mhm.
sometimes I have to sit back and I think because I don't have an unfiltered mouth. I was actually a teacher, believe it or not. So I kind of know how to say all of those things, but I'm also at the age now where it's like I really don't care.
Yep.
And what you were saying, when you see them coming into the room and that you're not going to let them disrupt the room anymore.
Right.
Mm-mm.
These newer sellers, when they start getting to those levels, then they start getting those people in there. I look at it as a badge of I've made it another level.
Made it out of
I
this.
want to get to the mods that I have to give them tips for the level that Noah's at.
It is for
But
sure. And I even tell my mods not to use the red chat very much, because if
Uh-huh.
you actually know what the red chat goes against community service.
Okay.
So if you have enough of it in your shows, you can actually activate I think it's called a whatnot bot now, that'll come into your
Okay.
show, and it actually has a chance to shadow ban you. So you
Oh,
can't be
wow.
seen
Wow.
by other sellers that you're live. You could be, I could be on the top of the list as the most popular seller on, and I do so much red chat that I drop down underneath people that only have 10 people.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So it does. I always tell them, I said, hey, if you want to keep my attention, that's fine. But there is some shows that have every other red chat. And
Yeah.
it's like,
I had
yeah,
one,
We did have
and
one of
you're the
those.
one that started it, not
That
me.
was my
I
bad.
understand it's fun and games too, but you got to remember that it's red chatted because it does go against whatnot community terms.
Right.
Or if you have a word like, not trying to be rude or start anything, but I have RTS muted in my shows.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't like it. Nothing against certain sellers, but I don't cuss in my auctions. And so if I say RTS, I say run that stuff. It's just
Right.
how I am. I grow up that way. Not that I don't cuss, but I like to have a community. I have a lot of people on my shows that are from my church and stuff, and they'll allow their young kids to be on my show because they know that I won't say profanity unless even though I have before, and I always apologize. It's just
Right.
how I am. Even though outside you might hear me cuss outside, she doesn't like to hear me cuss either.
I do apologize if I do let it slip because
Yeah.
I was in the Navy, and so that's just something for me. And Tracy will tell me she'll be language, and I say, oh, okay,
Hey,
I gotta
speaking a
stop
little
it.
much.
I did today during the show too, and I was like, I'm sorry, I get excited. And sometimes when you get that excited and you do that excited, what do they call it? Excited utterance.
Right.
And, so I have to watch that sometimes.
Yep.
But I love that you have mods that your mods know that you've given them instructions to say, listen, this is what if you see something like this, make sure that you handle that. And that's a great thing, because when people come in and they mod for me, I always do the same thing that you do. I says, please follow my mods. My mods are in here doing this to help me have that show that runs good for you guys.
Exactly.
When a room suddenly spikes in viewers, what's the first thing you focus on to keep control and momentum going?
Yeah, you get that big raid from the Noahballer guy.
Yeah. So you need to. So when you have that big numbers, you need to focus on what. I don't know how to say it, but what is selling good right then and there. So you get that room, and not necessarily you got to bring out a banger, whatever. I don't like the word bangers because I bring out hundreds of them that could be bangers, and they're not really bangers. Some people say they're bangers, and they're a $5 item. But
oh yeah, I've been in some of those shows too.
They are not bangers to me. Even me, I've been rated by Harry Tornado, which we are good friends. He actually shouted me out on YouTube once, and I didn't even know it. And then I started getting
oh wow.
And he's rated me in my opinion, I think he's a bigger seller than me because he goes on 24/7. But he's rated me with 300 people, and I've had 300 people in there and get like 600. And I'm just like, oh, what am I? And see if I can keep these people. That's the difference of keeping them. Then
right.
I can rate someone with, like, I probably rate it everybody after my show with at least 200 people, if not close to it. And so if you get rated by me, unless you're ending the show, you need to kind of bring out items unless you know that person. So say I'm rating you and you know that I was selling a whole bunch of video games, wouldn't you want to pull out video games to try to control that crowd that, hey, I got some video games, we know that. Like when I raid Green 13, some reason he thinks I sell sports cards. I don't know why Jeremy does that. I used to all the time sell boxes of sports cards, but when you buy storage units, that was a one-time thing, and he watched me sell hundreds of them all at once. So now when I rate him, he's like, "Oh, we're pulling out sports cards for Noah," because he knows that he's going to get more money for a sports card. Now I'm like, "Hey, I haven't done that in a while."
Yeah. That is awesome right there. Green 13 actually is the one who taught me to, if you get a raid, to not do a giveaway.
Have to do a giveaway. You do not have to. I don't usually. I already have one up.
Give a deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I already have one up when I get raided most of the time.
We usually have some Loungefly wallets put over on the shelf, and if we get a raid, we'll start it with a Loungefly wallet because it's interesting to a lot of different people.
And for a while, it was trending, and where I could grab any Loungefly and I would pick it up, and I'd start it off for $1, knowing I'm going to get at least $40 to $50 for it, and I only got $20 into it. This is the item that I have now sitting on. I have it sitting on the shelf, and it's just one of those decorative knives, and we got them at a yard sale. And so we paid like next to nothing for these things. So I have these sitting right over here. So if I get a raid, I'm going to be just grabbing one of these things. I'm going to say, oh, look, I'm going to run this for $1 and stuff like that. I got it. You know, it's in my bin for like $10, but just to give people that idea that there's a deal to be got.
Yeah, but if I have something sitting on the side that I know is popular and I'm waiting on it, and I do get a raid, which most of the time when I get raids, they're 20 to 30 people, so I don't do it. But if I do get a big raid and I I know I have that coin over there, yes, I'm going to go grab it because I just got another 200 people's eyes on this thing. I'm going to go ahead and sell it. You got to have something, unless you're just a smaller seller, that doesn't really have that kind of inventory yet. You gotta.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Or you bulk something up. That's a good thing too. It's like, hey, I got 5 of these things right here. Let's sell all 5 of these at once.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Run a bundle.
Yeah, like watches.
Yeah, watches are great.
I was watching that one in there, and literally, okay, I've said this a lot, but I'm an old dog, and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Literally, I thought, oh, I'm doing really good. Last week, I said to Noah, I said, man, you had so many people in that show, and they wanted to, and I was on my show, and Noah came into our show, and I said, and everybody wanted him to run those watches, and he said, oh no, I'm just going to do them all. And he said something that stuck with me right in the chat. He said, time is money.
Time is money.
And instead of running like 50 watches, he ran the whole thing. And I don't know, what did you get, like $200, $300, $400 for that?
I think I went for like 240. And I've done single watches before, and they go anywhere from $5 to $10 a piece. So in my mind, it's just get rid of them all, unless I'm specifically low on inventory and I want to sell single pieces. To me, it's like, hey, get them done with. That way, if someone asks if I have watches, I'm like, nope, we just sold them all. Because there for a while, Pokemon would get on my nerves. Everybody coming in. Do you have Pokemon? Nope, I don't have Pokemon. Nope. It's like, how hard it is to find Pokemon.
Just because you have 400 people in the room, you don't have everything under the sun to sell.
Exactly.
What do you think the biggest myth about live selling that new sellers believe all the time?
That they can make a ton of money. Or believe in dollar starts, which we already spoke on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
People see that all the time, and they're like, man, they're selling that, and I have hundreds of that. People are always like, I got all that stuff in my house. But doesn't mean you can just log in and sell it. You actually have to build it. I always tell people, if you're going to become a seller on here, find sellers that you want to become friends with. Find them, interact with them, see if you can get to mod, because you can't just come in someone's show and be a mod. I said, they got to trust you. I said, that's the best way, is to find someone, message them, talk to them, interact in the chats. And if they see you interacting, a lot of times they'll be like, hey, I'm going to mod you. You seem like you're keeping up with the chat, build your following. Now, there's a difference on building your following too, which hopefully you don't have a question on this, but you need to build your following. Following needs to. I have a huge following. I have almost 60,000 followers, but I build that slowly. So I want I want my followers to be buyers. I don't want them to be watchers.
Right. Yep.
There is a big difference in watchers and buyers. If I have 100 people in my room and they're all buyers, that's better for me, because I've had 500 people in my room and most of them were watchers. I gave away a $500 Visa gift card and I hit over 500 people in there. My next item sold for $3. And then when I only had 200 people on there, something similar sold for like $70. It's how it is. You have to start off slow. Don't do dollar starts, and don't think you're going to make money just by getting on and selling. You're going to lose money. I don't remember, but I didn't make money my first couple months. I was selling stuff that I already had. So in my opinion, in my brain, I still made money. But
right.
overall, if you buy something for $5 and you hold on to it for a couple years, by the time you sell it, you didn't make no money. You know,
Right, right.
it's how it is.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
makes sense.
yep, for
That
sure.
makes sense.
Yep.
How do you balance speed and accuracy when running large auctions with constant bids and comments?
Yep. So that is a struggle for sure. So always when I start my auctions, this is how I do it. I do the 10 seconds with the 5-second resets. Okay.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Normally my shows are 2 hours, but here lately my Friday shows have been 5 hours and they've been killing me.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yeah.
But I do 2 hour shows. So in my time frame, I do the first hour with a reset and the second hour I
Mhm.
do with sudden death. Now there's a
Mhm.
difference. If I have 25 sterling rings and I'm going to sell them all singly, I'm going to run them at sudden death $1 start and just
Mhm.
do them one by one, because if I do that for 10 minutes and I start losing the crowd, they
Right.
don't want to be there for rings. So there's a difference on
Right.
what you need to do, how you do the time set. Because in my opinion, if I think something's worth $100, I'm not going to do sudden death. If
Right.
I would rather have a reset. Even if I do sudden death, I might do 15 seconds or 20 seconds, depending on how I saw other bids on stuff. Like when
Right.
I do
Yep.
marbles, sometimes my bids go $50 to $200 on a bag of
I
marbles.
was watching your show when you were doing the marbles, as a matter of fact. I
And
was in there watching that.
you can see the last few seconds that it jumps from, $30. Everybody's waiting on that last second trying to get a deal. And it goes up to
Yeah.
70, $80. And I'm just like, I hope I don't get no cancels on these, because I started at $1. But if you do the reset, you can see people actually bidding on it. But then again, a
Mhm.
reset, if it gets reset, that could be a 2 or 3 minute auction,
Yeah.
and I got to do that a whole bunch of time, and I'm down to an hour. I'm just like, oh, I want to be off here in an hour, and I still got 100 items to run. So in my
Right.
head, I determine how fast I need to go, and how slow I need to go. Not necessarily always a money thing, because I know what I
Mhm.
have invested in the stuff too.
Right.
If I only have $100 invested in some stuff, let's do sudden death, give people deals. They come back for more that way, unless
Yeah.
everything is high dollar. I feel bad sometimes when it gets up there. I'm just like, well, if they send a cancellation, I'm gonna go ahead and cancel, because I'll just rerun it next show. But so far, I ain't
Yeah.
had that issue.
Yeah. One of the things, and it's actually happened to me as a buyer. When I started swiping across, and I can see it happening in your shows a lot,
Mhm.
especially if you do sudden death. When you start your swipe, the item might be at that $10 to $12 mark, but when you get your
Mhm.
finger all the way across, it's at $40.
That's because it's a
And
$3 to
then
$5 bid. So
yeah,
we're depending on
Mhm.
where it's at. $10, 10. Once you hit the $10 threshold, it jumps to 13 or 15 or 17. So if you
mhm,
swipe and someone else is swiping, say you have 4 people swiping at the same time, and
yeah.
that's a $3 bid times 4. So you just raised it up $40.
Yeah, it happened to me. It literally happened to me in a show, and luckily, literally somebody bid right after me, because I was like, "Oh shit! Oh, well, I'm sorry. Oh shoot! I did not mean to bid like $48. I was
Yep.
trying to get the thing at like $28, and that actually did happen to me
So
Yeah.
if you
once.
have time,
So,
usually I try to put custom in, but when you do those sudden death 10-second auctions, by the time you
mhm,
hit custom and you're
Crazy.
trying to make sure you don't add a zero into that custom, I get
yeah,
nervous doing that. I'm just like,
we
no,
did
I just
that.
swipe.
Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, it was. Oh, Noah went away.
Oh,
Oh, there
Right
he is.
here.
nice.
Okay.
I had a face cam.
It was a battle of the best. We
Yes.
had a Star Wars like replica uh, lightsabers,
Lightsabers.
right,
Yeah.
in a case that
Mhm.
we got them in a storage unit, so we had nothing in it, so we were fine running this thing at $1. But the person did a custom bid. Well, he added the zero, so instead of his custom bid being 100, his custom bid was 1,000. The worst part was, and I still can't understand how he did this, he bid it himself up to $400,
Mhm.
right? And we knew that the item wasn't worth it, because
Yeah.
we comped the item. We knew it was
Right,
about
right.
$70, $80. So I was like, well, we're going to have to cancel this, because this was before we even ran the item. It was
Yeah.
already
It
at
was
$400.
It was a pre-bid.
Yeah.
It was pre-bids, and I'm like, why are you pre-bidding the thing up if you know you put the custom bid in at the wrong amount. So
Yeah.
we canceled it and we reran it in the show, and it went for like, I don't know, $87 or something like that. It went right where it was supposed to go. But yeah, I can definitely see that happening.
Yep.
Yeah. That me?
Yeah.
Oh, what's the biggest mistake new sellers make when their room unexpectedly blows up because you drop a big rate on them? And then how can they avoid it?
In my opinion, the only thing I can think of, because it's not really a dollar starts, it's you need to be selling as soon as that room jumps. You don't need to be talking. So there's a difference
Right.
when you get rated. If you're already doing an auction, just keep doing with what you're already doing, because just say, hi, thank you for that raid. You know, your mods will appreciate it and say, get in that giveaway already that's up there. Don't stop your auction to find a giveaway, you know, right then and there. You can put one up later, and you know, you have that new thing where you can make one of your mods an admin as well. Where
hold on, you're gonna have to explain that one, because we're gonna learn this one now. What's this one?
So yeah, you can make one of your mods an admin mod. And you have to do that. You have to do that through desktop when you get on there and add your mods to your show. So say I had, you know, gamers, I can make him an admin mod. He can actually run and stop giveaways.
Oh, wow.
And he can add stuff to the auction tab. Now he can't do it with pictures. He can add, you know, like I do generic listings of 4 to 7 ounces. And say I'm getting low on those, I'll be like, hey, can you go add 4 to 7 ounces and add 50 more auctions?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That is
and
awesome.
he can start those auctions too. So it came into effect. There's a couple sellers on here that are deaf, you know, they can't hear stuff and they actually sell. So they have other they'll be showing stuff and people can't understand it, you know, and so they would have a mod. Just a minute. And your admin can actually run it, and he can actually type in everything that he wants, exactly what the item is, and he can run it for you. It just started, I think, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. And so you really need to trust that person too, because
that's what I was about to say.
He can end your show too.
Oh, wow.
Wow, really?
Yeah, don't give that power to just anybody.
Oh, just to go back on that. We I don't know if you know a seller named Lover. Yeah, you're still here.
Okay,
you're back.
I put on no disturb from my kids, and they're all trying to FaceTime me.
No worries. Believe me, we've had shows like this all the time. We were doing a tool show, and I never did tools. And we became very good friends with a seller named the Lover Dogs. Her name is Dottie. Dottie and Tracy. They go by Lover Dogs, and Vintage Thrifter. And she told me, she said, be really careful, because there are people that are coming to your room. They'll ask to be mods. And what they'll do is they'll kick people out of your show without you knowing, so they can bid on the items to get.
They can bid on the items.
So definitely trust with your mods is a huge thing right there.
It is, for sure. It is. It's a little bit different. I haven't needed that yet, but I know some other
we didn't either.
Some other sellers have tried it on the giveaways. That would be a good thing, you know, be like, hey, can you run giveaways for me? Like during the big raid trains, that's a good thing to have. If you're only in a 10-minute raid train and you got to run 2 giveaways, instead of you stopping what you're doing to go and type it, they can go and run it for you. So I saw someone do it the other day, and it seemed like it worked, and it was instant. It was actually, I was in a lady's show named Kay Combs, and she had Stella go in there, and she was like, I need to end this giveaway and then start it, and she did it instantly.
Awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. We're going to have to definitely look into that.
Yep.
See, we're learning. That's you.
What is the best advice to anyone who has been live selling and trying to grow their room counts?
So you need to be active in the community. That's the biggest thing, because it's not about always getting your name out. You don't have to. You need to support others too, but there's a difference, you know, on supporting. You know, it's not always about money. You know, I come into people's rooms. I like to give back. So of course I'm buying stuff, even if it's a small item or items I don't need. I buy a lot of stuff I
But
don't
two
need.
things for me today.
I just come in there to bid, and I tip all the time as well. But it's just a chat. If you go into someone's chat and you're interacting with them, and especially if some of those rooms don't have mods, there's a lot of shows that don't have mods. They don't know
Yeah.
about them.
Right.
You can be a mod without having that mod beside your name.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and that actually gets your name out there. And then eventually you'll get modded, or eventually, this person will be like, hey, this person's doing a lot. Maybe y'all should go follow him, see if they're a
Mhm.
seller or
Yep.
not. Because it does take consistency to gain any kind of crowd in your room. You need to
Yeah.
have a specific show every week that you do that same show every time, the same day of the week, whether it's on a Friday at 7 a.m. You need to do that for months on end. If you keep moving
Mhm.
your shows, your people that follow you for morning, like I had someone that was doing morning shows, and then they would get busy, so they'd move them to nighttime shows. Well, you just lost your
Mhm.
morning crowd, because not all morning people are nighttime people. Like me, I'm not a nighttime person. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock sometimes. And so if you have a 9 o'clock show, I'm sorry, But then
Right.
again, I
We
have
better
people that
wrap this
miss
up.
I have people that miss my show, because I do, Central Time would be 8 o'clock my time, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
they're still in bed then. But you don't want to move your shows too much. You want to be, when you first start, you want to be consistent. Like I was a Friday morning show 2 years straight. Every Friday morning, my people knew I would be there with the good stuff. And I did Fridays. In my opinion, Fridays is payday for most people. So Fridays is
Yeah.
a good day to go live. And then I went away from Fridays and went to Sundays.
Makes
Only
sense.
time I only time I went to Sundays is I figured people are sitting at home getting ready to watch football. So
Right.
who's
Yep.
who's not on their phone when they're watching football, unless you're really. I'm not on my phone when I'm watching football. I watch the Chiefs, and I can't miss a second of it. They're always having me on the edge of my seat. But yeah.
Dolphins right here. Believe me, they're making me cry every year. Even
Hey,
though they're
yeah.
winning right now, I'm still like, oh my gosh.
I've hated the Dolphins ever since you took my wide receiver.
I
Oh,
can believe that. I can believe that. But see, now I've been a Dolphins fan since you're talking about early 1970s.
yep.
So I love Bob Greasy. I love Larry Zonka. I actually have a signed Larry Zonka drawing that somebody made of him, and it was signed by him and stuff. And my favorite quarterback of all time will always be Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, I was getting ready to say
He's
that.
just phenomenal person. I mean, the only problem that he really had was he didn't know his own strength. I mean, he's throwing 5 yards down the thing, and he's throwing that ball so hard.
Hard
I've
as
seen
a
him hit a
rock. Yep.
receiver, and the ball goes like almost out of the stadium.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, so thank you for those amazing answers right there, Noah. We're going to try to speed this one up a little bit. Hopefully, everybody that was here, you guys gained some great knowledge. I can tell you right now, Tracy and I did, because
Absolutely.
it was just amazing to hear some of
He's
those.
already
some of
given
those
us things to think about.
Oh, definitely, and it's amazing. So this is our "What's Up" section right here, where we talk about something that's new in all of general reselling. Okay, we don't really we do focus a little bit on the live reselling, but we're going to talk about fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is in full swing. Upcoming really soon is Black Friday and Cyber Monday. They're coming up next week, as a matter of fact. This video will be launched on Sunday. Whatnot will be allowing the sellers to have shows on Black Friday without having to pay any of the normal fees. They're going to be commission free shows, meaning that a lot of sellers are going to be going live on that day right there. Now, Noah's already said he does his shows on Fridays. Last year, this did cause a lot of issues with Whatnot, where the internet was crashing all over the place. Whatnot was crashing all over the place. Hopefully, they're going to be a little bit more prepared this year.
Being a larger seller and having regular shows on Friday, do you see this being a problem for you?
No, I do have a show scheduled, and I actually put Black Friday on there. And
Mm-hmm.
the morning, in my opinion, like last year, I did a show in the morning. I didn't have any issues. It was more in that late afternoon towards evening where everybody was having a bunch of issues. I did an hour. That's all I plan on doing, is an hour on Black Friday. And
Right.
because I'm doing my normal kind of show. I'm just doing it just because a lot of people will do 24 or 48-hour shows because it's 0%
Yeah,
commission.
not me.
Right.
Not me either. And I may not do the hour, but I already do a Friday show, so why not? But I don't
Right.
think I think they have started to figure out that thing is they have a lot of servers that can only hold so many people. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
you got to remember these sellers, a lot of these pallet sellers have 300 to 500 in their room constantly.
All
And
the
Yeah.
now,
time, yes.
now there is going to be hundreds of them on Friday because they do get the the good inventory really quick. Unlike me, I'm a storage unit seller. I may not have the best inventory that day. I have antiques and collectibles right now, and
Yeah.
so I don't have that new pallet pool or nothing like that. But I think it'll be okay. Now it really depends on the crowd wise. If there's, I don't think I've seen anybody that really is going to have a huge crowd like say Joe Hollywood. Have 5,000 people in there.
Right.
I haven't seen nobody post like that yet, but we
Yeah.
still got another week before we get to that to see if what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Now everybody and their brother is going to be on. So
Yeah.
Right.
a lot of new sellers, they still have to be careful because if you've got, several sellers on there are going to have 200 to 500 people on there. You come on and you have 5. Don't be starting that stuff at $1 because it's going to sell for
Right.
$1. And don't get
Right.
upset that you started it at $1.
Yeah.
Well, our strategy for Black Friday is
Yeah.
we're doing a hyper specialized show. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that we weren't going to have a big crowd anyway, but that same crowd would still come that
They would
night.
still
Yeah, we
come.
weren't going to
So-
do one at all because of basically what you just said.
Mhm.
I'm usually $1 start items on things unless that I know that I can get to that I know I'm going to be able to get money for. But I wouldn't do one on that day because I would be competing with the Joe Hollywoods, with the Noahballer,
Everybody.
with
Yeah.
all of these other huge sellers out there. And at that point, it's a disservice not only to me but to the buyers because they want to see those great deals. They want to go into all of these different shows. They do attract large numbers do attract more people. I mean, that's just a fact. They want to see what's happening,
They
what's
wanna
happening
know.
in that room. Oh my gosh, there's 300 people in there. So that's one of the things on that one. So great answer on that one. We just hopefully though, Whatnot will have it all figured out.
Yeah. Our
Yes,
next
for sure.
section is one we call Shine the Light, where we shine the light on 3 sellers at 3 different levels on Whatnot.
Yep. Or live selling in general, mostly on Whatnot because that's where we are mostly. We do dabble a little bit in the district, but right now Whatnot is our main source. Our new seller for this week is a seller named Julio. He goes by Julio Big Papa. He is a Whatnot seller with 56 sales and 142 followers. He has plans for making it big on Whatnot, and he wants to try selling video games, but he's starting out using media, mostly like DVDs, Blu-rays, and things like that. But today we've changed it up a little bit. Normally we ask one question of our guests. We're going to ask 2 questions of our guests this time because we have an established seller here, and hopefully Julio will be watching because he will get a note that I'm letting him know that we're shouting him out.
Mhm.
And so our first question is, Whatnot changes really fast. What advice would you give to sellers about staying relevant and building a loyal audience?
Yep. So just like that seller, he's going to be selling video games or CDs and Blu-rays. He kind of needs to stay in that category for a while. So if he wants to do video games, that's fine. But he is really new, and so
Yeah.
say he's doing DVDs and Blu-rays, he needs to do that for on my average, I would say you need to do that for about a month.
Right.
Because that way you get it. Now, if you don't, I didn't tell this on my backstory, but I did like every category there was out there. So
Right.
I have built my following, say Hot Wheels. I did Hot Wheels for about 2 weeks. So I had then people follow me. Then I had people from, I don't remember what I did. Antiques and collectibles for a couple weeks. Then I did DVDs, and I gained a following from each category before I all combined it in one. So if he's going to do video games, then he needs to stick with video games at least once or twice a week and do that continuously. And if he wants to switch to a different category, he's got to remember he's going to have to build that category back up, because then people coming in ain't gonna know you. Just like if you go to vinyl records, you know,
Yeah.
then people ain't gonna know that you do video games, and you know, you're not. And
Right.
your video
Right.
game people are gonna come in there and be like, "Oh, you're selling vinyl records? You know, I'm leaving."
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
definitely
That's actually
faced
what
that a
happened.
lot. Yeah.
That's what happened when I sold the video game console for $1. It was
Yep.
a vinyl record show, but it was Tim, that narrator dude, who rated me, and I knew he was doing that. He does video games, but I have a feeling he was dabbling in Blu-ray,
Now that
and
we
he had
think
a
about it.
Blu-ray sale, and so he brought over his Blu-ray crowd, and I just totally messed up on that one and stuff. So
Yeah,
it
and they need
definitely
to have a
happened.
set price too, because they're still new, so they need to have a set price. Whether it be, you know, he can do dollar starts, you know, on that kind of stuff. Yeah, unless he thinks it's higher, but preferably $3 to $5 starts is probably what needs to be best, and you just stick with that. No matter if you think it's $100 game, just don't run it. You know, don't even show it, because you're gonna
Right.
have people that want you to run it at $5. You know, and you're already
Yeah.
gonna know that it's not gonna go for very much. Even if you have a couple bidders, it won't go up there. You need to just hold that stuff back for something else. You know, just wait, because it's not gonna work at first.
Oh, I love that answer on that one. The other question is what's one piece of advice that you'd give a new seller trying to reach their first 1,000 followers in video game niche? Wow.
Uh, have stuff in your buy now.
There you go.
It's a little different. Now,
You got
I don't utilize buy now. Now, when I first started, I did use buy now. I would go preload 20 to 30 items and put cheap items in there. You know, I would sell a single Hot Wheels for $3, and you know, that's a sell. I still made $2
Right.
after fees. Go and
right.
put, you know, 10 to 15 of them, and they're real cheap, because, you know, if they're older Hot Wheels, they're worth $5, $10. You know, newer Hot Wheels a couple of bucks, but that gets you up to your 1,000 sales, and people are buying stuff from you. And if you get that out to them in 2 to 3 days, you know, they're like, "Hey, I'm going back for more. I got this item within this week, and I just bought it." You know, it's just like buying off
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
would load up your buy now for sure, and then to get the more followers, it's just being just like I use the same thing Green 13 says. ABS. Always be
Yeah.
selling. That's the only thing
Hmm.
else you can do. And you can get on for an hour and make 5 sales and end it. You know,
Mhm.
just you don't have to give up. Just be done. But okay, I'm gonna do an hour every day. Do an hour every day. Whether I make 1 sale or 20 sales, you know, do it every day, every other day, be consistent with it, and then you'll slowly, because you got to say an hour show and you're a small seller, you're going to gain 5 to 25 followers a show on average,
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
no matter if they
Yeah.
buy from you or not. You know, on me, I average anywhere from 500 to 1,000 followers a show. It's what I usually get,
Wow.
unless
Mhm.
it's a big raid train or something. So the more you're on, the more chance you are to get noticed and to start getting your name out there. They're gonna come back and follow. They ain't gonna follow you. Like me, I feel bad that I don't follow a lot of people. You know,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
look at my account, and I'm just like, man, I need to get my followers up. But to me, I want to follow the people that I want to buy from. Really, you know,
Right.
I have to say I probably buy from. I only follow 319 people. I think I buy from all 300 of them. I really do.
Wow.
And
Oh
so
yeah.
I want and it's just how it is for me. I don't want my feed with people I don't know. I'm just like, oh, I don't know who they are, you know, this and that.
Right.
Someone's gotta tell me, hey, even if I get rated into your room, if I like him, I'm
No,
gonna
Archie's
follow
back.
him. So yeah,
Right.
This is our cat Archie. We have 6 cats, and they always come
I've
around.
got 3, and they were destroying that my couch. I got a new couch, and they were
Oh
destroying it.
no.
Oh
And
my
I'm trying
gosh.
to teach them not to put their claws on it, and it doesn't matter. They were on the pillow and putting their claws in there, and I was like, okay, you are going in the basement.
That's some awesome advice right there. So any of you that are newer sellers, right there, you just got a whole month's worth of great advice right there.
Our growing seller this week is Gwen at Gwen's Vintage Kitchen. She's a whatnot seller with 6.5 thousand sales and 9.7 thousand followers. She's a home goods and cookbooks seller, and she's going to do some cooking shows.
Yeah.
And despite having some health issues, she is still growing and building her business every week. What advice would you give to sellers who want to grow consistently on Whatnot, especially if they may be dealing with real life challenges like health issues or limited energy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Almost if you're having, health problems or having, family problems, you almost need to have you need to have a team. You
Mhm.
need to have, if you're older and you have, say, grandkids or relatives, or if you're older and say you're in a church or something and you've got a whole bunch of friends in your church that want to help you, you need to get them involved with you, because it's hard for anybody that has health problems, people that can only stand for a certain amount of time, or, sit for a certain amount of time. It's hard to
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
whatnot shows. Whatnot,
Oh yeah.
it's not easy. Everybody's like, they watch me. I'm a bigger seller. I'm sitting there standing, and I'm holding my phone. I hold my phone in my hands the whole time. And I don't.
Right.
And I try to keep it steady. That's not going to last when I get up in my 50s and 60s. I hope it lasts, but
Oh my God. I'm 60 years old. I really feel bad right now. Like, Tracy, we need to go get a shovel and just start digging a big hole out in the back because Noah just put me in there.
But yeah, they could try to get some kind of help, even if it's just a little bit, because they need to make, because you got to know people that have health problems. They're probably up there in a little bit of age, that they
Mhm.
probably get Social Security or something like that of some type, where they can only sell so much anyways before
Right,
they
right.
cross a
Right.
threshold or something. But a lot of, I got to say, even my kids, grandkids, they are interested in reselling.
Right.
They want to help you, even if you find a church kid. Hey, I'll pay you $10 to come. To come help me move stuff after I sell it and put it on a shelf or something.
Right.
Right.
You got to have some kind of help, and if you can only do a 30-minute show just to get your name out because you want to make a little bit of money,
Mhm.
Mhm.
try to find some help, even if it's a relative or something. You can't do it yourself. I've seen people on here where they have a sleeping disorder and they fell asleep on the live.
Oh
Oh
my
my gosh.
gosh,
They
Yeah.
that's
fell asleep
terrible.
they were on a kitchen table, because that's where they wanted to do their live at. And
Right.
Mhm.
they even told people they had a problem, that they were going to try to go as long as they possible, and their head fell onto the table. And
Oh my gosh.
someone had
Oh
to
my
report the live as a emergency, and they
Emergency.
came in
Yeah.
there and shut
Yeah.
it down. But yeah, they didn't have nobody there to help them. You never know what's going to
Oh my
happen to
That's
you.
goodness.
awesome.
You
That's
need
that's
you
great
need
advice right
somebody
there.
there. If you know you're going to have some kind of health problems where you might drop your phone, or you might fall, because you're moving around, or you might drop a whole bunch of stuff because you're kind of unsteady and stuff, which I broke glass in my life. And
Right.
Yeah.
you need that second pair of hands to help you, even if it's a kid. You need someone
Right.
that can help you, just
Ab-
for that.
Wow.
Awesome.
Our established seller is Michelle from Michelle Deals. She is on Whatnot Sell, which is funny because last week it was Michelle Collects
Yes.
LLC,
Collect,
but
yeah.
this time it is Michelle Deals. She has a seller with 45.5 thousand sales. That's an astounding number right there, and 26.8 thousand followers. Which that's probably what you really want to look for, is the largest sales number, and having that
Hmm.
following number where that's at is just phenomenal. She's an everything seller who has awesome show. She does live shows from estate sales, which this is, to me, is just phenomenal. She goes live from estate sales, flea markets, and garage sales, meaning that she doesn't have to carry any large amount of inventory.
Hmm.
Do you think that sellers that don't carry a lot of inventory and they live sell from these locations have an advantage over the sellers like us who carry a large inventory? I just compared us to Noah.
I do. I actually follow quite a few sellers that go live from flea markets, or places like that, and
Hmm.
they've got the inventory on hand. Now, the only thing I see the downfall of that is the starting prices,
Right.
Yes.
because when you're at flea markets, you've got to interact with whoever's behind the table, or they have a whole table full of
Mhm.
brooches, which I follow a lady, I think is DD Deals, I think is her name.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And
Yes.
she goes to flea markets all the time, and she has to sit there and she has to explain. When she first starts her live, she explains to the people that, you know, I'm not going to be always be able to get good deals. And there's some sellers that sell at cost because they know, like the seller you're talking about, they get a better crowd. So they can start
Yeah.
at what that seller wants to do it at. There's some sellers like DD Deals. she'll 3 times or double the amount that's going to start at. That way she knows she makes money.
Right.
Right.
But I think it's a good thing. I see people going live from the Goodwills. You know,
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
preferably I don't like Goodwills. Now I do like the Goodwill bins,
Yeah.
but the actual Goodwills, people like that because maybe they don't want to get out of the house, you know, and
Yep.
be like, hey, can you go see if you can find a size small? I don't care what it is. Go see, find something small. Well, those
Right.
sellers are going to do well because they have inventory on hand to where they can just walk and find pretty much anything, jewelry. That's a big thing on Whatnot. There's tables full of it at flea markets. So then they can just go to a table and be like, hey, how much? They'd be like, $1 or $2 a piece, them sellers are going to want to buy everything. So
Yeah,
I think they do
exactly.
Right.
have an
Yeah.
advantage of having, unlimited inventory for that time frame. The only disadvantage is the starting price, depending on that seller, because if that seller only has 10 people in their room, they can't start at what that person's asking, because after Whatnot fees and taxes,
Yeah.
if it sells for that amount that you're going to pay that person, you practically lost money, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
You got to
Definitely.
double,
We're gonna
the amount if you're smaller
Mhm.
for sure. But if you're bigger, I could probably do good. You probably missed this 2 years ago. I went into an antique mall and
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
a lady had a 50% discount and she was needing to pay her booth rent of like $110. And I said, hey, this is when I wasn't as established yet. I was still doing
Right.
it. It's
Right.
probably closer to 3 years ago. I said, I'll go live if they allow me to do it. And I'll sell some
Yeah.
stuff on Whatnot. And that's when I had like 50 to 75 people in my rooms. And I went
Mhm.
live and she's like, oh, you can start everything at $5. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, $5. If it sells, it sells. And I think I made her $400 in like 30
Wow.
minutes. And I got to start it at that price. So it does work because she had a huge booth of everything, no
Right.
Hmm.
matter what you wanted. And I was able to start everything at $5 for her. And stuff went higher than that, of course. And it's to me, people get excited because, hey, I can go find jewelry. Hey, can you go find shoes? Can you go find video games?
Right.
Unlike
Yeah.
us, we have a limited amount of stuff. Like video
Right.
games, I'm out of video games right now. I haven't found none in 2 weeks, you know?
Uh-huh.
And they come in every time. I'm just like, nope, I've got antiques and collectibles.
I
I feel
swear,
bad.
I do not believe him one iota. I do not believe him one iota. I swear, I've gone into his shows and I've seen him. And not only, guys, not only are his video games like good video games, okay? A lot of times they're complete in a box. We're talking
Mhm.
about NES, Super NES, completes in the box. And he just is like flashing over these things like it's nothing. Oh, yeah, I got this one, and this one, and everything. And I'm just sitting there going like, cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. And I'm like swiping at like $2. And before I get to the end, I have to lift my finger up because it's at 100 already. And I'm like,
You
oh my
came into the
gosh.
live when I had a whole bunch of those Zeldas in the boxes.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. It's an inspiration for all of us. Guys, we're going to have links down below to all of these amazing people right here, guys. Follows are free. Give them a chance if you want to. Okay. You can bookmark their shows and you can actually bookmark their shows and not get notified. That's one of the things I really like, because to me, it helps these newer sellers when they see those bookmarks starting to add up. It gives them
It
confidence
does.
before they're running into their shows. So next is our favorite, Tracy's favorite, one of our favorite parts of the show.
It is time to turn the tables. This is
Yep.
where our guest gets to ask any question they would like. It can be about reselling, life, or anything else.
Yep.
Okay. So I was thinking of this question earlier when you asked me.
Okay.
Oh, so y'all buy storage units and random stuff as well. What is Where is your favorite place to source as far as getting bulk?
We have differing opinions on this one. I am storage units all the way.
Storage units all the way.
I want storage units.
Yeah, I literally sent Noah a picture of a storage unit that shit. Now, if you guys don't know, or if you've been watching the channel, we hit a jackpot very
Last
recently.
week.
Where last week, and this is amazing because right after our Veterans Day show, where we weren't on live, but we were on Whatnot for 14 straight hours. I was in every single one of those shows. I modded every single, I was in there. I was helping out all of my sellers. I had 70 of the most amazing people on that train, and they were so gracious. They humbled Tracy and I, but we were exhausted. So what does Tracy do the next day? She doesn't buy one storage unit. She bought 3 storage units, right? So we're having all of these different shows. I'm exhausted, but we hit a banger. We hit a jackpot on those.
Very good. One of them was
we're like
really good.
the items like this. This was in them right here, and there were hundreds of them, and we had all of those. So we did really, really well. I sent Noah a picture because what does she find today? You know, I'm still not over everything from that happened last week, and I should shared him a picture of another storage unit because it's got 6 boxes of long box comic books in it, plus totes of cars and action figures. And the storage unit's already at $700 because in Atlanta, man, storage units, if you want them, you got to pay for them. So
especially if it doesn't look like rats live inside.
Yeah, if it doesn't look like rats are living in that thing, you ain't gonna, you know.
You can't.
Well, I've bid on those storage units from Atlanta, Georgia, and I've had them shipped to me before because I have them shipped to me from New York and Atlanta.
Do not bid on the one that I'm looking at. No, you got better, more resources than I do.
So I get to do a double whammy. So if storage units are bad, where is your second place to source from? Since you like storage units.
Tracy likes storage units. Me, there's a store that we discovered through buying storage units called McKay's. It's like a consignment store. I don't know if you have a Second and Charles there where you could take books and media and change them out, and then they give you store credit, and you can go through the store and you can buy stuff.
We have a place called Ollie's. It's called Ollie's.
Like that. We discovered that by buying a storage unit in Nashville, Tennessee. It's the most expensive unit we ever bought. We paid about $10,000 for that unit after fees and us running a truck because I live in Atlanta and Nashville's about 5 hours away. So that unit was full of all these video game consoles that we have and all of the video games that we had. And we're still working through that unit. And that was 5 years ago now or 4?
3.5.
3.5 years, coming up on 4 years, because I know it was in January when we bought the first one. And so we discovered McKay's through that. So now when I run something, like I got a DVD show coming up, a Blu-ray show, and I run this and I run it for $3 or $2 or whatever, I'm not going to run it for $1 and it doesn't sell. I know that I can take that to McKay's. McKay's will give me credit for it. And then I'll go through the store and I'll buy the video games that I want, like the Zeldas and those things like that. So that's my favorite, that and retail arbitrage. Hitting the after Christmas sales and all of that, because then I don't have to worry about the items. I know they're new, I know they're good, and you know, think I'm getting them cheap enough that I can turn around and flip them. So that would be like my favorite place is retail arbitrage and McKay's. Gotcha. Because I love she's going through the problem that with storage units, and you mentioned it earlier. You don't have any video games right now. You have a video game crowd. They're expecting you to have a video games when you do your show. We have that same thing. You know, we have people that come into our show going, hey, do you have any Zelda? Do you have any of this? And I'm like, well, I don't have any right now because the storage unit I just bought didn't have those. And we haven't been able to get to McKay's because our closest McKay's is in Chattanooga. That's an hour and a half away. And so I'm like, no, but let me put it on the list, and I'm going to be going to my buyers, or I'm going to be going to my sourcers, or wherever I get these stuff, and I'll be trying to get those things there. So that's normally what we do. But I'm going to turn the tables on that one. What's yours?
Besides storage units, I am a horrible spender online. So I like to use on my. I'll give up one of my sources. Is I like to use Shop Goodwill.
Okay.
I bought from them too.
I like to buy bulk from them. Now I have one that's local for me where I don't have to pay shipping and I can go pick it all up. There's a difference.
Telling you, we're moving to Kansas.
It's an hour away from me and I can buy 100 items and then just go pick it all up that same week. Unlike
that's huge because their shipping prices are through the roof.
They use FedEx and it's extreme. One little cup could be $15 in shipping. And it's like, no, but that is I'm on the computer 24/7 when I'm not doing any other work and I'm sourcing. I mainly look for big lots, 100,
Right.
100 game lots, 100 video game lots, or a million marbles, Hot Wheels, stuff like that. I like to buy the big lots. That way it looks better to me as far as, paying the shipping cost on that. That is my
Hey.
bugaboo, is shopping online. She likes Shop Goodwill because she looks for Minecraft on there.
Okay. Well, go ahead. Oh, is this me or you?
Yeah, that's you.
Okay. Thank you to our amazing guest, Noah, and his beautiful daughter, Ellie, aka Noahballer1984. Our next guest next week is going to be somebody that we met at a Whatnot meetup. His name is Bernard from the Big Fishing Family. He's an amazing seller, guys, and he has a great story to tell you guys. He is just amazing. We still have in the works Ben, Rocky Top Picker, and we are working on somebody who was mentioned earlier. I did not think
Because he is always
he has been mentioned in every single podcast we have recorded. Of course, I am talking about Josh and Harry Tornado, which I'm going to get Noah to get to talk to Josh and get him on our podcast. So thank you very much for being a part of our little podcast, Noah. We really do appreciate that.
One final question for you. It's the same to every single guest. What does the future hold for Noahballer1984?
Mm-hmm.
More shows. I have done, when I first started, I was average of 5 to 7 shows a week. And after about year 2, I went down to 3, and now I'm technically down to like 1, if not 2 a week. But as much stuff as I have gotten, and I don't know, I think I sent you a picture today of the stuff I got today. That is a hoarder's house, and I probably have about 500 loads to bring back from the house. Wow, I'm not going to do it in a U-Haul. They have these all in carports, so they are enclosed to a degree. So I'm going to be doing more shows, anywhere from 3 to 5 a week now, as long as I can handle the shipping. Because last week I did 3 shows, and that was almost 400 orders. And I was only 6 hours streaming, and to try to keep that 1-day shipping time, that's hard.
Yeah,
that is very hard.
Me, I know that one.
And I have an antique mall as well. So I had an antique mall that closed down after 93 years. Their kids don't want to take it over, so I get to go inside and sell whatever I want to at $1.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, that is awesome.
That is okay. I want to definitely going to bookmark that show for sure.
Amazing.
Yep. That'll be fun.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Check out Stop Soldier Suicide and the Naughty Cat Cafe. There are links down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you for being here, Noah. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.